What's going on, everybody? This is Blake Albertson with B&B Lawn Care. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at BB Lawn Care KC, on YouTube at B&B Lawn Care, and now on TikTok at BB Lawn Care KC. If you enjoy this podcast, please leave us a review on iTunes. All right, let's get right into it. We're not messing around here today. If you're working, put the headphones on and let's try to learn a little bit of something together. This is not something that you can just learn and adapt right into your business. This is something that just takes experience. And so last year was my first winter owning a house and being married and having real life expenses. And it's just something that I never did understand. People always told me, people that were older than me that just have those expenses, they told me about them. But there's just things that you never know until you go through it. Something, I'll be honest, last year that snuck up on me was personal property taxes. I have paid taxes in my business for years and years and years. It's nothing new. It's nothing that ever sneaks up on me. Quarterly taxes, payroll taxes, they're just part of life. My income taxes, the state, federal, city. It's something that you experience and you have to pay them. And it doesn't sneak up on me ever. Actually, I have an accountant that does all the paperwork, the calculations and things like that. And he sends them to me. I pay that payment because it makes my life easier. It makes my risk of, being audited and messing things up and finding out 5 years from now that I didn't pay enough tax in 2017. You know what I mean? So it's something that I put as a very high priority, and that's why I pay somebody to make sure that, it's getting done correctly. And so that personal property taxes just snuck up on me because I never paid personal property taxes on a house. And on, now we have 3 vehicles, we have 2 trailers, we have, just stuff that you don't know. And so that was something. So now it's not going to sneak up on me this year. It's just not. And I think I paid it in December sometime last year. I think it's due in January. Don't quote me on that. Like I said, this is one of those things that you have to look up in your city. I don't know if it changes. I don't know when the due dates are, but now that is just one more thing that's added up that's not going to surprise me this year, next year, or years to come. And so, am I perfect? Am I in the clear? Absolutely not. Because this year, if you guys follow us on YouTube or anything like that, you know that my wife is pregnant. Natalie is pregnant, and we're having twins at the end of December. And so that is a life whirlwind of new experiences, but we're talking about money here. It's a total big question mark. I have no clue how much it's going to cost. It's actually impossible to put a price on it. It's impossible. And I'm sure if you guys are parents out there, you'll definitely agree with that. But me even just doing the research, because yes, we're going to classes and we could talk all about that. We're going to like baby classes and things, but one thing that nobody's talking about, and so I take it in my own hands and I do the research on it, is money. And you guys know I love Dave Ramsey. A lot of everything I talk about is Dave Ramsey based. I mean, that's kind of, we have the same thinking habits and things like that around money. And so this year, and we, obviously 9 months, you've known that you're pregnant, and when you're able to have a baby, you're planning in your head, or at least you should be. A lot of people don't. If you know what you're doing, you know what I'm saying, but you do the deed, you get babies come. That's what happens. So if you're not mentally preparing for that in your head, which I was, obviously I didn't take it to the full extent, but I was preparing. When we start mowing, when we start mowing in March, I think we started April 1st of our weekly maintenance this year. From the very first check I get, and this sounds like I used to listen to people years and years ago when I didn't have a house or anything, and actually Johnny Moe, he's on YouTube, so check him out. He used to say, I think it was Labor Day in the summertime, if you don't have your winter fund funded by Labor Day, you're not going to make it. It's not going to happen. And so we can talk about a lot of different philosophies, but if you don't start in April, at least in my experience, or at least the way my thinking habits are, if I don't start immediately and just say, we save this to 10%, 15%, 20%, 30%, whatever that number needs to be. If I don't start immediately and I get into a routine where I think, okay, I take the money I get automatically, this is 100%. This might help you out too, because this changed my life this year. I have so many different bank accounts at my one bank, but they don't make any sense to anybody but me. I have a payroll account. So I fund that payroll account every time I get paid. And so the money that I see in my bank account, like my business or my personal, isn't money that needs to get paid to employees. That money's already taken out. It just helps me mentally by knowing that I have the money there to pay people. I also have a tax account. Same philosophy, to make sure that the money that I see that I think I have isn't actually money that has to go to taxes or to payroll. And so I did the exact same thing. So my 3 accounts that I am totally worried about to send money to every time I get paid, my tax account, my payroll account, and my winter fund / just savings account. Okay. From April, you don't and here's the problem. As I know a lot of people might be listening to this needing help right now, November, December, January, February, even into March, that didn't save money and they're scrounging, freaking out for money. Listen, I hear you. I get it. But this might just be, you might have to go into freak out mode and just do whatever you can, sell whatever you can, work whatever job you can, take on any jobs that you can. Go help a local landscape buddy of yours, hardscaping, whatever you can do to make it through the winter. But this means you need to change your whole practice, your philosophy, your thinking habits around saving money. It used to be a scary topic to me. And I'll actually say this, and this is crazy. And it was really cool to be on the same page with my wife about this, that saving money is more fulfilling, and it sounds wacko crazy if you're on the opposite side of the equation, where you're like, you just have a different philosophy than me, which is fine, by the way. I'm just telling you my experience is what helps me out. But it's actually more satisfying for me to save money and to see that number in that savings account than it is to buy things that literally, this is so crazy. If you don't realize this yet, I'm going to change your world right now. Buy something, $500, $1,000, something that you just want really bad. You can't imagine living without it. Okay? And in 1 month, dude, I promise, man. I promise. Dude, even a new car. That's how crazy the human mind is. We as humans fall into like a routine, a habit, the normal. This is the new normal. Every peak you hit is the new normal. That's why your business, that new machine, that new truck, that new trailer, the new weed whacker, after a week, after a month, it doesn't seem like a big thing because you already accomplished that. Now that's your new benchmark, and you're just looking for what's next, what's new. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, once you get $1,000 in your bank account, it seems like nothing, and you want $10,000, and vice, like the same thing. Like, Once you get 10,000, you think that's nothing. You want 20 and 30 and 40, 50, go so on and so forth. And so that comes into other things that we this would be an 3-hour long podcast if we got into that, because that's really getting in the mental, like, what do you actually want in this world? But we can save that for another day. So winter fund. So if you're freaking out for money right now, listen, I hear you. It sucks. It's crazy. It's scary. It's absolutely terrifying. It's actually diminishes your inner self, where you think, why me? Like, I thought I ran a good business. I thought I was making money over the year. And it is scary. It is diminishing. But you need to start thinking about next winter. And I know that sounds so crazy, but when you do that first job in March, if you're like a maintenance company like me in the Midwest, we start things. Normally January, February are just dead. They're just cold, snowy, not a ton of snow, not enough to make a bunch of money on snow removal, but just not good working conditions. Nobody wants to spend the money. Everybody's busy with everything else. So really March, that first job you do in March, you need to start thinking about your first quarter. If you're an LLC and just a company, I don't know much about that. I know we're an LLC. I pay quarterly taxes. So you need to think about the quarter one taxes, your quarter two taxes, your payroll, your home expenses, like your winter fund. This is all something that needs to be done almost a year in advance. You need to start it. Like, it's the philosophy, and you've heard this before, of when was the best time to plant a tree? Yesterday. When was the best time to plant a tree? It was 5 years ago. When's the second best time? Today. You know what I'm saying? So it's that philosophy. Like, if you didn't do it a year ago, 5 years ago, if you didn't start this philosophy, you need to start it now, because next winter it's just going to get harder and harder and harder and harder. And so I apologize for messing up that philosophy, but that was it. Yes. The first best time was 5 years ago. The second best time is today, man. And so think about that for next year. And I know this is hard. I know there's no real solution about if you need the money now. Like I said, dude, you might have to just start selling things. And I know that's a Dave Ramsey preach. You might just have to start selling things just to make it through, to pay the mortgage, to put food on the table, and just pay your basic bills until you start working again. I know winter could get hard, it could get long, it sucks. This is what I did last winter. I kind of went in freak out mode because things got way more expensive. Everything's always going to cost twice as much as you expected and take twice as long. Kind of the same thing with winter. It always seems a lot longer than it should be, and it always seems to be way more expensive than you were anticipating, which is why I just believe in just stacking up cash throughout the year. And so that's what I did, where even with twins coming, we're not going to freak out about money, because instead of going, dude, it was so hard. I wanted a new truck this year so bad. Natalie wanted a new car this year. And I think it really speaks to me and Natalie growing up as humans and as a couple and just every part of us, that instead of us going and buying new cars, which we could have, we could have bought both of us new cars and thought we were living on the high life, right? And instead, neither of us got a new car because our cars run good. Knock on wood. Everything's running good. Everything's running fine. And we know that in a month after buying a new car, it'll be nothing. It'll be now, we want a new Tesla. We want a new blah, blah, blah. We want this, that. Like, once you take a step back and you realize that you just don't care about any of that stuff after a month, it's a little bit easier and more fun and enjoyable to just save the money and keep riding out what you're working with. I found a real love for my work truck, that F-250 we have. I think it's a 2010 or 2011 or something. I really honestly have no clue on the year. It's got 180,000 miles on it. A new engine, probably has like 55, 60,000 miles on it. It runs like a tank, once again, knock on wood, but why would I sell it? Like, I got such a great deal on it. There's not ever been a payment on it. I paid cash for it. I had a great deal on it, and it runs perfect, and I literally love that truck. You know, like like all it does when it goes out and works is make money. That's it. And suck a lot of gas, but making money, baby. And so, yeah, so there's a lot of philosophies in there. That's all I wanted to share with you guys, is how I do it, because I have people recently, a lot of people have asked me, people on Messenger, people in my real life. I mean, just not being rude about it, but people asking, how are you going to make it through the winter time? Oh, you have 2 kids coming, you have a house, you have cars, all that stuff. And it's one of those things that I don't want to sound like you guys know I'm not arrogant. Like, I'm not trying to say like, oh, I've got it all under control, you don't have to worry about me, because I'm not like that. But it's one of those things that I just wish people would know, and I'm trying to convey it here, that if you just start early on the year, like, man, that first check got sliced from 100% of the check to 90% of that check, and I lived on the 10% of the first. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, that is how extreme it is. Like, half of it just go to taxes, insurance, your bills, then you got to pay payroll, then you got to pay, you know, your expenses, and then you have to pay your winter fund. You have to put the money away, you know? So like 90% of my money I never even saw or touched or had that to go get fast food with or go get a pizza with. You know, I had 10% of that money to get that pizza with. So you're making the investment so you don't have to worry or freak out in the wintertime, and you kind of can take a step back in your business and be creative and strategize about the next year, the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years of your business, so it can better your business and you're not just in total freak out mode about money. Okay? I get it. It's hard. I get it. It sucks that you're getting, because it is like lawn care, you can make a lot of money, but the downside is there's a ton of expenses, and you have, at least for here in Missouri, you have a very long winter where not a lot of people want to spend the money. That's just the facts. And there's not a lot of work to do unless you're doing, you know, hardscapes and things like that, building patios and things. But even then, man, like, most people think about it when it's nice and the birds are chirping in springtime. And so it can be a very, very long winter. And that's how I've dealt with it. That's what I'm going to continue doing, because there's no other way. If you're thinking about it, you don't have any money in the savings account when it comes September, October, dude, like, I really, there's just not much you can do. I don't even know what to tell you. Like, it's very, very hard. There's tons of expenses in life. I literally I don't even like to look at my expenses, because it gives me way too much anxiety. My personal expenses, the expenses for the house, the cars. Dude, my oil change the other day freaked me out, you know? But I realized that, one, it's all tax, you know, the oil and stuff and things for your trucks and things like that are tax deductible. So it really doesn't matter. But also, that money for winter is already saved. It's already gone. It's not even in the account for me to look at or like want to spend. That's the key, is getting it out of the way. You know, if you give a kid, put a candy bar in front of them and say, don't eat this, you know, and if it's still here tomorrow, I'll give you 2 candy bars. You know, that candy bar is going to be gone, you know, And it's, we really never grow up out of that, especially when you add money and shiny things and new cars and blah, 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 down the line, new iPhones, computers, whatever it is. It's not going to change. So get that winter savings. That's probably the biggest piece of advice, and that's where I'm going to leave you off on, is get the money out of the way. Put it into a savings account and don't look at it, touch it. Don't think about spending it. Don't think about what you... Actually, that is a good strategy, is I do think about what I could spend it on. Like, I literally do. Like, Natalie and I even talk about it. We're like, dude, we could be riding around in a Tesla, right? Like, why don't we just go buy a Tesla? Sell the car, go buy a Tesla. Let's go buy a boat. Let's go buy jet skis. Let's go buy this, that. Talk about it. Fantasize about spending that money. But don't. I promise. Like, your winter self will thank you so much that you have a savings account and you can strategize your next year plans for your business. Or if you're having twins in the wintertime, like me, you can learn how to how to take care of two kids. So anyways, that's it, guys. I hope that helped. Make sure you leave us a review on iTunes. Follow me on Instagram and YouTube at BB Lawn Care and at BB Lawn Care KC. And that is it. Thank you guys so much for listening. And we will see you on the next podcast and on YouTube. Have a great rest of your day. I hope everybody saved their money. I hope you're not in freak out mode. But if you are, take a deep breath. Everything's going to be okay. Listen, the sun will shine again, my friend. Spring is... It'll come. It's not that far. It's not that freaky and scary, but it is something that is very serious and you do have to plan for it. So have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for listening. Peace.